How are you?
Say. Hi.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
There we go.
All right, terrific. Well, now that we're, I'll say it again since we're now unmuted. Welcome all to the Wednesday, April 15th. No, it's
Tax
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
Tax Day 2026 Plainfield Select Board meeting. We started a little early with a visit to Ferry Hill Road, which is, and looked at our gravel pit and a building that's out there. So we apologize for being a few minutes late, but it was hard to come in. It's really nice outside. We will start our meeting with approval of our minutes from our Wednesday, April 1st meeting.
And I got corrections
I
from
sent you
you.
a
Yeah, you
few.
sent me a couple of
I
them.
think Elise sent you.
I
just sent you one at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I saw that, yeah. On the total calls.
Yeah, we didn't have 43 marks. we had 43.
Yeah, oh, if you, unless you, yeah, unless you had any,
No, I didn't have any issues with it.
yeah. And when they are not of substance, I just send them to Steve.
Right, if you see something you like to
If it's
clean
of
up.
substance, we'll talk about it here.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I will entertain a motion.
I move we accept the minutes.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, they are approved.
Did you do both? There were two, because we
well,
had
there
that
was
little
also
short
the-
one.
The short one, yeah, okay, we will, they're very short because they tend to be shorter when they're non-public. We don't.
Well, no, that was the public, that was the Monday night when we met with the building inspector candidate.
As a candidate.
Yeah, was that? Okay,
So I mean, we never went into no,
yeah,
Yeah.
I just like to make a motion. It won't hurt us to
I
approve
move we accept the motions.
The minutes?
April-
from our April 1st meeting where we, yeah.
No, this one's April 6th.
Oh, April 6th, I don't know what this is on.
Neither do I.
So am I moving again?
Yeah.
you are
No,
moving
you're
again.
seconding.
You're
You're
seconding
seconding.
this
I
time.
move we accept the meeting, the
From
notes
April
from
6th.
April 6th.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there, also approved, yeah,
Before we do public
that fresh
comment,
air.
yes.
two quick things. If
Sure.
we could sign the Jamie Orway
Yes.
building inspector appointment, and then
Is
we'll
it in
have
here?
him come in and get sworn in. I think it's number 1 right on top,
Okay,
or maybe not on top anymore. Maybe it's, there it is, right there. And then there's also one, Amy, a certificate that I need you to sign
mhm,
that I want to catch Sarah before she leaves for a notary.
okay, so let's do that. Have you signed that?
Do you have it over there or does Amy have it? in the
I'm
folder?
digging it out right
Okay.
here.
Okay,
So this one is to certify that I am allowed to sign
Oh,
for
yeah, I
the
saw
grants
that.
on the Grantham Mountain Bridge.
yeah.
But it needs to, hold on, just a second, let me get Sarah or Michelle to come in and witness your signature.
Oh,
Hold pause.
yes, you can. I didn't finish it.
Oh, you did? What, you
No, no, I
have?
can't. I have to wait for
Yeah, it has
a
to be
witness,
witness for a
even though there are quite a few witnesses here.
Yeah,
But a notary.
Fantastic.
It is
See
being
it.
recorded.
Oh, okay.
okay. That looks good. Is that your summer look?
Yeah.
Shorter, keeping it shorter?
I went to Florida and I came back, I was like, I gotta see this.
Who am I witnessing?
Oh, I'm signing,
Excuse me.
You're good.
Move on out of the way.
okay.
Yeah, just have a seat there and it'll seem like you're getting married, but you're not.
It's not even like the name is that long.
That
Right.
that one's a lot more fun, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And then if, Amy, if you wanna swear Jamie in as building inspector?
Is that, oh, okay, so let's see it. Yeah, you're all right.
Where you can stand.
All right, I'm gonna stand over here with Jamie. So just, I guess he'll just repeat after me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if you need to raise your hand, but you can if you want to.
Look very serious though.
I, Jamie C. Ordway, do solemnly swear
I, Jamie C. Ordway, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent of me
all the duties incumbent of me
as building
As-
inspector.
as building inspector,
This is very wordy, according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and laws of the United States of New York. You can do it.
agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution of the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
All right.
Congratulations.
We just need you
Yep.
to sign and
You.
they just need to sign the date here as well. That's okay.
Yeah, with our
Thank you.
fancy. plan.
For, it is the.
The 15th.
It's-
The tax day.
Yeah, when did you send the email?
Earlier today before 20.
And here,
If it was after 5, we've been gone to a meeting, so I have not seen any email.
And then,
So.
So if you give it to me, if you give it to me at 5, I really don't have time to get it to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, okay, so before I speak on that.
so we're not quite at public comment yet, but
Yeah, no, no.
okay, yeah, hold on, let me.
We're trying to.
So I don't know who is,
Hi, thanks, Jamie.
I don't know who signs down there.
Michelle will sign
Okay.
there. And then you sign right there that you swore him in.
I'll
Yeah.
sign at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's dependent on, so that's something, but it should be fine because. I mean, yeah. I'll be good. I know, it's dropping right now.
I'll do that too.
All right,
There we go.
we got it.
Frogs and the otters coming up and down the stream.
Oh, apparently Maria has sent an email that we didn't see because we were in Ferry Hill.
Right.
And she would like you to have it. I can go print it if you want me to.
Did it come directly to us?
No, I think it came to me.
Email, it always says to send it to him.
Which is fine, which is fine, that works fine. Well, it's not something, I mean, we certainly can print it out, but it's not.
I think it's
And
something.
you can have public comments today if you want it added. Am I gonna read it now? No. But
But it's
we'll.
something that you need to look while I'm reading. So then that way you need.
Well, it's not for public comment, so you're welcome to give us public comment, but getting something to us, you know, I work and I don't have time to read things before a meeting if you send it after 5. So
Okay,
we can add it to next time, the agenda next time, or you can give us your comment today. if you'd like.
yeah, I'll have another comment as I.
Okay.
Here. You want me to start now?
Yes.
Okay, so I've done an institutional audit report on map 102 lot 7. And there's quite a bit of discrepancies and administrative failure. What I write here is the town current records for primary K-8 campus 102 lot 7 are mathematically inconsistent, preventing a clear public audit. The conflict is one set of town documents lists this parcel as a 7-card set while other pages in the same official on page 29 listed as a 16-card set. So you have the same buildings in 2 different. And then the risk of this is if the town is fluctuating between 7 and 16 cards for the same lot, there's no way that the select board or the public to verify if the other 9 potential card contains taxable faculty housing or unapproved exemptions. Then the card by card forensic findings is the 1 out of 7 is 65. There's all different addresses for one card. So the card 1 of 7 is for 65 Main Street, which is Row Hall. And it's a dormitory, 2 faculty apartments, and it has 4.8 acres. The audit issue here is the land is 100% exempt, but the building is only 70% exempt. There's no administrative note explaining why the educational use differs between the dirt and the structure. So the assessor writes little notes and there's nothing there. Card 2 is 57 Main Street, and that is a library classroom offices, which is 100% exempt. The audit issue is, this is a link card. It identifies as both 207 and 216. So one property is in two different cards in town records. So why is the double counting? Then card 3 of 7 is 51 Main Street, which is the Tracy Health Center. That description is health center and solar field is 100% exempt. Card 7 is 59 Main Street, which is the Kimball Barn. So that's the maintenance office. And basically, the audit showed that their listing history explicitly states the barn was raised in 2022. I don't know if they ever replaced it, but it didn't say anything on the card. So however, the card remains active with a $12,500 extra feature, which is paving, that is still being exempted. So the question is, why is this, is there still an active card with a value assigned to it? If the building is gone, the direct educational use, which is RSA 7223, 4 is gone. So card number 5 is 61 Main Street, which is the alumni gym and the pool. The gym and the pool is 100% exempt. And the audit issue is notes state that the pool is no longer being used. That's what the notes
Yeah,
state.
that's correct.
So I don't know if, if that's up to date or what, but RSA 7223, an exemption requires active and direct educational use. Idle property is taxable. Card 6 of 7 is 63 Main Street, which is the heating plant. This is a boiler room, heating plant, and the calculation is a little bit of a mystery. So the card identifies this as a gas boiler room containing a Brooks boiler that serves 8 separate buildings. And when I printed this, it didn't all come out. The notes state that the plant is 71% exempt based on a ratio of taxable space in building heating. The audit question is, where is the worksheet or audit trail for this 71%? There's no record on the card naming which 8 buildings are served or how the square footage of taxable versus exempt space was calculated. So without this 29% taxable portion is an arbitrary number that cannot be verified by anybody. And then there's an extra feature leak there. The 80-foot smokestack and paving are also being prorated under the same math. And we don't know exactly what that is.
So when you say we don't, you don't.
Yeah,
That's the answer, right? It's not
think
we.
The whole town.
Well-
This is, this.
So I am gonna just stop you, I mean.
Yeah.
Because I've already let you know at the last meeting, this is not something the select board is interested in taking up an independent. We are not interested in taking up an independent audit of KUA's property. We pay money to an expert to do that. So I do, if you're going to be doing an independent audit, is that something you're trained to do, or is this something you've hired someone
I
to do?
wanted to, when I worked at the school district, let me tell you.
So you are trained as a building assessor and a
No,
tax
I'm not a building,
assessor.
I'm just looking at the tax
You're just, so,
cards, and these are the questions I have.
right,
And
so,
why
so we will
are-
see if there are answers that we can get to you,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna tell you, I don't have an interest in entertaining a card by, at these meetings, a card by card.
Yeah.
We don't have answers for you, and
Well, you basically, the selectmen are the ones that
Yes.
sign off on the.
that's
exemption.
correct, and
So how
and,
do-
Maria,
do you
and I
have that
hired-
experience?
we hired a person with a great deal of experience to do that work for us. We, as the select board, were happy with that work. We are not interested in doing an independent
Well-
audit. I understand you're not happy with it.
No, the whole thing is, I'm giving you point by point.
You're giving
And
me
those
point
are
by
the ones
point things
that-
that you don't understand, and I'm happy to look at them,
Okay.
not during my
yeah.
meeting, and not.
I don't understand, it's not in the card.
Right.
And I don't think I don't think that George has or the company has needs to put in each card exactly
Right,
what.
I think if, I mean,
The
hold on.
the
Steve's-
mathematical should be there.
Maria, you looked at this book for about 90 seconds, because I've been asking you to come in and look at the book, and you have not come in and looked
And
at
I've been,
it. This book here
Yeah,
is, this entire book
yes,
is the result of, at every revow, we go through every KUA building with a member of the KUA staff and George Hilda.
Yeah.
And they color code each building
so
as
the
to what
answers
is,
are there.
as to what is taxable and what is not, based on visual inspections of the spaces and conversations with Kimball Union. This is work the town of Plainfield has been taking very seriously
Yes,
for 50 years. You know, George does this every
and
revow.
that is my understanding.
And so this book exists here.
Yeah.
It is the backup. There is no issue with the cards.
Right.
The campus is divided into basically one side of Main Street, the other side of Main Street. KUA doesn't own a bunch of lots.
Mhm.
They own a couple of lots with a bunch of buildings on them.
Correct.
So it's a little different challenge for inventory assessment cards, but
So
this
you are
book
welcome
is the
to look at
base.
that and see if maybe you can answer some of
maybe you
your
can tell me
questions.
about the building that's gone.
Well,
in
that's the building that
2022.
they moved down to.
Right, it's the
That
barn
building
that
moved.
is now down on.
It's now 120.
They took it down, Kimball Barn, and they
Yeah,
rebuilt
but
it
you
down.
still have it as exempt over here.
It's removed from over there, the
No.
card is exempt. George has been to the Kimball Barn, he knows that it's
So the
in,
barn has been moved to where?
it's down on
It's right
Route
on
120.
120.
On one
It's-
twenty?
You can't, I mean, it's a
But
brand,
it's
essentially, it's the
You can't,
frame of that barn.
it's right behind the church down
But,
there.
I mean, every building permit that KUA
Yeah.
gets, every project they do, George Heldem spends a lot of taxpayer dollars
that's
assessing an inventory.
That is correct.
And so, he's there tomorrow,
Yeah.
because he's working on faculty housing tomorrow. They built 4 new faculty housing units this last year. And those will be tax exempt because they are faculty housing,
Mhm,
and they were part of the dormitory project, which is taxable.
mhm.
And so George does the work, but this is the backup for the cards.
Absolutely, and you know, and I'm happy to take a look at it at some point, but I have seen it. And you know, and did have my signature on approving our last revaluation
Right.
and was happy with the work.
And any one card on the KUA campus could have some error, just like
Absolutely.
any card at your house that covers your house could have an error. On balance, Kimball Union is
Is-
assessed spot on, just like on balance, every house in town is assessed spot on. There are always some variations, right? George is there once a year, but they are minor, they are not millions of dollars, they are not even thousands of dollars in variances.
We certainly don't have any intentions of hiring a second opinion.
We do not. We did not have that in our budget, nor the interest to have it in our budget, so. Was there anything else you felt we should know tonight? I certainly will take a look at your email.
Yeah, but again, it's the audit, somebody outside the regular scope that.
We do hire an outside, for George is an outside person.
Right,
No,
and,
no,
and
not-
George's
no, no,
work is
no.
reviewed by the Department of Revenue,
That's correct.
which
So-
they approved this work,
That's right.
and they told you in an email a couple of months ago, they like his work. End of story.
It really is. It's, all right, other public comment? Seeing none, we will move on. So we've had a swearing in of our building inspector. We'll move on to department reports. We start this way again? I feel like I'm always starting this way. Maybe we should, we're gonna start with chief.
Things slowed down a little bit, so we only had 3 calls since the last meeting.
Oh, come on.
Carbon monoxide detector, a motorcycle went straight off of the Lee Road corner, and a car versus deer, so it's been fine. So, and I responded to 2 rescue calls on my own. The fire department wasn't tasked with that one anyway.
Get you got an interest.
Well, my wife called in, she called me just this morning, said, what do I do? I said, well, call 911 and I'll be right there. We had a joint forestry training with Cornish last week up on East Road and burnt, I don't know, an acre or 2 of field and ditches up at John Dry's. That worked really well. We try to do a joint live fire training with them at least once a year. Depending on the weather, we may do another one next week. We have a couple more people in Cornish that want the job done, so we'll go help them out. Saturday, the New England Canine Search and Rescue will be using our 12A station for a CPR class. There's a individual on Cornish Rescue that has a dog she's trying to train to help the search and rescue, and so she's joined that organization, and so Jim McGarriger and Margaret Dryer are doing the CPR class at our station. They're Saturday. It was late, I sent in, so putting on my forestry hat, so through the forestry department, we can pay people for when we have a brush fire, grass fire, that gets paid half from the state, half from the town. Along with that is we get paid for our training, so 4 of us went through a 3-hour training, and so I have a bill that needs to be signed by select board. And the way that process is that you have to sign it, and then, someone in finance has to say that you paid the 4 of us.
Okay.
And then that goes to the range, and goes to the state to get half that money back.
So essentially, right, you'll sign
Fair.
tonight, we'll issue checks to the
Is that,
4
and that's
people.
in here?
I think it's something Chief Elder has, and then we will pay the 4 people, and then Ann Rogers certifies that we paid them,
Okay,
and then we get money back from the state. The only missing piece I have, that once I've got the 4, it has been a while, once we get the 4 paid
Yep.
and Ann signs it, do I get that document to you, or do I send it in direct?
No, so we have to get it to the local ranger who
So I get it to you, basically.
get it to me. His wife's having a baby tomorrow,
Oh.
planned thing, so he's not gonna be available, so I gotta find.
Well, it'll be next week before we
Yep.
write the check, so that, then Ann can certify.
Yep.
Yep.
And in 2 weeks, I'll be at a meeting where a bunch of the rangers will be there, so I.
so
can
you
get-
need this back, not,
Right, I'll take that back.
Right, because that, once it's paid, the treasurer is
Gotcha.
supposed to sign off.
And in fact, I'll work it out with her tomorrow, but yes, we will get it signed and then we'll get the checks next and get it.
Yeah, and there's a whole rate structure, so I actually get paid more than Jamie.
Oh, yeah, it's an outrageous rate. You get paid like $14.60 an hour. 20 for you. Wow. Some of them I saw were 14.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I haven't done this in years. Peter Barry used to do this every year that for everyone that did training, and that was brought up that, hey, we haven't got paid for this training in years, so this year I'm just trying to go through the process, plus then it makes you
Fair.
familiar with the process. So if there is a wildfire that we have,
yes.
that'll be a slightly different form, but it's the same thing, each individual.
It's been years since we billed an individual for a brush fire or something,
Correct.
unless they're really negligent in what they
And
chose to
different
do.
towns work it differently. The way we deal with Cornish is, if we go to Cornish, we just write it off, because we don't, then it gets complicated, because Plainfield would have to write a bill to Cornish so that they could pay us, and we just write the
Yeah.
mutual aid office, we're happy to come and help, and vice versa when they come to Plainfield. So that's setting that up.
Excellent.
The only other thing I had, which is a different hat, is the repeater is up for the highway radios. And so we need to get our fire radios reprogrammed as well for the frequencies, and I didn't know if there's any motion on how.
Rich, you ordered radios, yes? Yeah, so Rich working with Doug Plummer has ordered
Right, so
some
when
radios.
when they come in, let me know, because if someone is programming those, we've got we may not do all of them, but the ones in the trucks, and at least Bill and my trucks will get reprogrammed to highway, because we don't need to have every one of their brother be able to radio you, because we don't want them radioing you, it has to go through one of the officers.
Well, it makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so that was one thing on my agenda piece, is that once your radios are in, Doug and Bob Jacobson from Wavecom will then do all of that programming.
Yes,
So they'll get in
we'll,
touch with
we'll
you.
work with the thing, because
Yeah.
if your radios, if the Motorola's Wavecom can't do them, we'll have to get, good one up at dispatch to do it.
Well,
Or Russian. If they're Icons, which we have one Icon radio, then it can be done through it.
Was something Doug Plummer put you on, right, Rich?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like,
It is icon.
Okay. So anyway, we'll work
at
on it.
Motorola's too, so I'm trying to. Motorola's way better one, if you ask me, than the Icons, but that's beside.
But they're harder to program yet.
Right.
We can't just, I tried
So we
to
may have to
download
replace
software and they
all
have
ones.
cable and I can't do it, so.
We may have to replace all the Motorola's or something.
Yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, that think of me when you're doing all that.
Will do.
Doug will circle around for
Yeah.
sure.
All right,
Right, that's all I have.
excellent.
Thanks, Bruce.
Hi,
Good segue.
okay, lots going on. Community resources, I'm gonna kind of break it up a little bit. So community resources. Resource room and food pantries open this weekend, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 10:30. I want to give a shout out to our local 4-H youth leadership team who held a food drive to benefit the Eat and Eat kids pantries at the Plainfield and Cornish elementary schools. 2 of their members actually came to the food pantry and helped make care packages and stock shelves, so that was really, really nice of them. This Friday is Beaupre Community Service Day. They're in the 27th year of existence, which is pretty exciting. So the Plainfield school community will be out and about through town, sprucing everything up for the spring. I have a bunch of kids coming to the food pantry to help stock shelves from the New Hampshire Food Bank, supplies that are coming up from Manchester tomorrow. They'll also be making care packages, and there's a group getting dropped off at Corey Tabor Field to do that cleanup as well. So that's exciting. We have a bunch of Green Up Day helpers, Mountain Valley Treatment Center, staff and residents have reached out to me and will be lending hands. 21 of them will be taking care of the Trues Brook and Willowbrook Road from town line of Lebanon all the way up to the covered bridge at Colby Hill. So they're gonna do a really good pickup. I've got 2 rolls of bags. I've told them how we used to do it as a fundraiser when our kids were in school. So they'll have a group starting at the Plainfield town line. They'll have a group at Cutler. They'll have a group at Colby Hill, and then they'll all conjoin. So I meet with Renee, who's the staff member in charge over at Mountain Valley for this tomorrow. So once I hear, I will ask for the event and maybe some vests. So I'll let you know.
What is this? Sorry, probably have to pick up the trash afterward, right?
I'll let you know. I have to talk with her tomorrow to actually figure out the day. I think they're gonna look at the weather too. But I think they really were hoping to do it on Earth Day. So we'll see, which is next Wednesday, I believe. 22nd. Community luncheon is scheduled for next Thursday, the 23rd. We're at the Plainfield Town Hall at 12 noon. The Esterbrook School students will be coming over. They'll be helping to set up the dining room. And then during dessert, we'll be giving us a little spring concert on stage. So that will be fun. Summer camp scholarships are coming in. I can't thank people enough for their generous donations. We have a lot of kiddos that are interested in going to camp, and those that are home alone, this will give them a good social development outreach, so it's really great. All right, I'm putting on my health officer hat right now. Last week I attended the regional health officers meeting, which was at City Hall. It was really well attended. A lot of great information. One of the biggest topics was failed septic systems, and we were able to share our experience from a few months ago, and it went really well. So that was good. Unfortunately, but fortunately, I recently had to request emergency shelter at Singing Hills, so we have opened up emergency shelter for a family of 3, almost 4. Mom has a high-risk pregnancy, so they are safe. Phil Lee has been phenomenal. And that's why I was a little late tonight. I had stopped over to just check in on the family. They're doing well. We will be securing housing for them, but not till May 1st. And Singing Hills has been phenomenal, saying they're safe, they can stay here. We're providing meals if they need it. So we've got a great partnership with Singing Hills. Lots of irons in the fire right now, assisting seniors moving into assisted living, young families in crisis due to heating oil and electricity prices, gas, trying to get to and from medical appointments. But again, we are fortunate with the Shell Community Trust Fund. We have funds to give a big wraparound hug to those that are in need. So we're doing okay there. Okay, emergency management team. Recently, I was interviewed by the Upper Valley Lake Sunapee Regional Planning Commission about past emergencies in town and what would be beneficial for our community. I'm very fortunate, or we are very fortunate, we haven't had a lot of emergencies where we've needed mutual aid. We've been able to do it in-house, which is great. The new thing is communication, and I was talking about radios. And so they were impressed that we were finally getting all of our resources on the same frequency. So that's gonna be great. One thing they did ask us, are we planning for more culverts in our storage area? And I wanted to check, do we have some
We got
backup?
some culverts. We got some.
So that was one thing we talked about.
Yeah.
I
Yep,
don't know if they're the right size.
well, as long as they're bigger, we're okay.
I'm sorry, I'm speaking out of turn.
No matter which size you have, it's not the right size, so let's go to the next bigger size that's there.
Yeah.
If we have
So
that.
that was one thing that I said, that's one thing that the select board had talked with our facilities manager and our highway crew, and yes, we are prepared for culverts because they developed grant. So yes, we're there. And then we talked about the radios, which is great. One thing that I'd like to do is I'm gonna send out a, invitation to all of the department heads so that we can have a roundtable discussion now that winter's over and spring is sprung, just a debriefing about how winter went. Did we have any,
cold.
flaws? Yeah, I know. What could we have done better? What was good? What was bad? Just looking forward. It's one of our annual, meetings. Select Board and PD and Road Crew, I would like to ask that you put on your calendar June 25th as our barbecue for the community luncheon. Thursday, the 25th. 12 noon. We are gonna try to host it at the Plainfield School. However, if it rains, we will have to pick a new location because the middle school renovation project will be fully underway as of the 17th of June. So we won't have access to the gym, if it rains. But if it's a beautiful day, we'll be on the circle by the flagpole. We can access bathrooms from the main entrance. But if it rains, we'll pick a different place. I was gonna check with Bev to see if the town hall was available. If not, maybe we'll go to the fire station. We'll just get Rich to bring the grill like he did before.
Right.
But I want everybody
With propane.
with propane, yes. But I just want to put it on everybody's calendar because it is one time that you guys all help grill and serve.
I will be away as I was last year, but
Okay.
But Ken,
If there's an annual conference, it's
Right,
always.
it's an opportunity, Kent, that you will not wanna miss. You can wear your most
It is
outlandish grilling outfit that you have. And I think Eric used
Eric
to
always
wear
wears the American flag.
an American flag and a big wicker
Yeah,
hat.
yeah, you can wear whatever, yeah.
And,
It is fun. It's a
So
very
one
good
of the
time.
he
things
took a lot of burgers.
that we learned in Chief Bechfeld's interview is that he is great with the smoker. So
Ah,
I was wondering if I got you some stuff
we missed
to
that.
put in the smoker for pulled pork, would you do that?
Pulled pork, yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Just let me know what kind of meat you like to do because you are the professional smoker.
I don't know when you've said that, but you've
I
got
didn't
yourself
do
in
that.
there now.
I hope it was true.
Well, we asked him about grilling. He says, well, I don't know about a grill, but I'm really good with a smoker.
Excellent.
So,
And I always thinking, why did I say that? Oh, look at that, I have a text.
we'll talk.
Oh, there you go.
Doing so well.
Being a,
All
All right, so that's all for me.
where is he?
He was on me.
Yeah, bring it on.
Do you have a gas from Ferry?
Fingernail.
Send him here. I'll
Oh, I've already got
Okay.
bit by one already, I get.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
It ticks up.
All right.
We'll just make it go every day.
I usually
Sorry.
cut their heads off, but I don't have my knife.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll keep that in mind.
Isn't it good that they move? They didn't move, we'd never know they were there. Just like a
Small
freckle.
blocks.
We will move on to you.
I've got plenty of those already.
Now I'm all screen.
Yeah,
So
rest of the day you'll be finding ticks right there.
continuing on, working around the shop, picking stuff up and taking loads of stuff out that we don't need. And through the winter and whatnot, and picking up roadside and stuff like that. Change the transmission fluid in the grader. Pretty good time, it's raining, and every Monday we do maintenance on the trucks, we grease them and whatnot. We do that and check them out, see if there's anything that we can prevent from happening. Sometimes they find stuff, sometimes they don't. Backhoe, we had to change front tires on that, so them are changed to new. Took another piston down to Osgood, supposed to be raining, so I said, well, it's a good time to fix this leak. Yeah, it didn't rain like I thought it was, Bosch tomorrow will pour anyways, so it don't matter. But anyways, got another one down there getting repaired. Filmed a bunch of potholes still, River Road. And all these are on the pavement, we did these on the pavement on River Road. And
Potholes on River.
yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
there they were,
Re-
we finally got to them.
Remind me, I want to just go back for a minute, remind me, cause I have not talked to Rob DePietro about it. We have 2 sanders that can go to municipal bid,
Yes,
2, and are those 2 different than the one that's down at Ferry Hill, or is that one worth keeping?
well, that one fits on, that's a pickup one, but we haven't used that in quite a while because. We haven't stuck in the truck, but I don't even know if that even runs now, it's just been so long.
But if we were gonna we could get rid of that one too?
I guess if that's what you want.
Well, I'm asking, I'm not telling, I'm asking.
I wouldn't get rid of it quite yet. but-
Okay, so but you got two
but
large,
there's two- But
you
there's
got-
two big ones at the shop.
and the reason we would get rid of them, just so you guys have heard, is that as we have migrated to these new trucks, the sanders are built into the bodies.
Yeah, they're all.
Right,
So
so,
these no
so
longer
these,
have a use.
and they're not, the trucks aren't even plumbed for them, so I think those should go for either scrap or for whatever municipal bid we'll get. So
Right.
I'll get Rob to get in touch with you
Yeah.
about the details of them, but Sanders, okay,
Great.
thank you.
Let's see, then we had some, well, pothole fell on High Street. Shrewsbrook had a pothole thing there. Trying to remember all the ones we did. Potholes on Whitaker, Underhill, High Street, had a potholes, and then I did it twice, High Street.
Season,
Haywood had some potholes there in the pavement, so we went down and got that. Freeman had a pothole on the intersection of River Road, filled that one with perma patch, that's on the pavement. And then yeah, we started on River Road, but we finished that already. And then we potholes on Kobe Hill, Ladue, and Porter, and Haywood. We just worked on all those, and Dodge Road and Kenyon. And then we hauled, on the rainy days, we hauled back to the shop, crushed. And then Dodge Road, we had a stop sign down, we fixed that, somebody, I don't know, somebody ran it over or whatnot. Is that it?
All right,
And
sounds
the-
busy.
and the grader has, we sold the grader last
Yeah.
Friday.
Oh,
In
that's
fact,
right.
we
No, that
we
moved
now
it
have
today.
money in hand and it left it today, Rich.
Fantastic.
I forgot about that, the grader's left.
So where does the money that we received for the old grader, what section does that go in?
Comes back in as a revenue under highway, so income from department.
Goes,
And if, depending on how the year goes, if we felt really good about it, we could put the 11 back into the equipment fund with an article at town meeting. But otherwise, it just goes to fund balance, which ends up right back to the taxpayers. So,
okay,
so it's all, I mean, it is a holistic thing in that everything has a value and an amount of money attached to it. And we either have it as a physical asset or or have it as cash. In this case, we sold the grader, so we now have the 11,000, but it's taxpayer money, taxpayer grader.
right, I just wasn't sure of the process because the money for the new grader.
Well, that's
new
what I was
grader
wondering.
Came out.
Right,
of
we
the
can't
highway
put it back
department.
into the fund. The fund only has a one-way valve.
Okay.
The only
that's what-
fund in Plainfield that has a two-way valve is the private shell fund. Because that's a different animal. You can put money in or take it out. In our cases, we take them out because they're capital reserves, but the voters put them back in. And so if we wanted to, if it was a material item, we could put that money back in as an article next year, and it would just come out of unassigned fund balance and go into the reserve fund as an $11,000 contribution, but the voters have to tell us to do that.
Okay. And as long as we've got Rich on the soapbox here, I was wondering about the plows over at Ferry Hill, the line of, are we using that for a fence?
No.
The old plows? No. Are they functional at all?
Well, when you break one, it's nice to have one. That's why I kept a few of them, but there's some there's one that's leaving anyway, so it's sold with the grader, and then there's a
Okay.
tower that's gonna go, so that eliminates the tower and one of them.
Okay.
As far as the other ones go, I'd have to see which ones, if I was to get rid of them, I'd have to see which ones would be to get rid of.
I'm not pushing you for you to get rid of stuff that we can use. I just wanna make sure that what we're keeping
Oh, I wouldn't.
is
get rid of-
because we can,
Right, I would get rid of something that we can use.
okay.
I think we know that.
Not really, I mean, a lot of it, we've gotten rid of.
Yeah, oh,
That's great.
no,
Yeah.
and I'm always the one that defends it, Rich, and by saying that we are asleep in the middle of the night in a snowstorm when you have to fix something. And
Right.
so if you know where that piece of scrap metal is that you're gonna use to weld, we,
Wow,
yeah,
other than that, if you switch it,
You know,
power
it's
up
so-
quick to switch it
so
to another one.
we.
It's more or less what I like to do if I could.
Well, and if they still, if the hydraulics and everything still work on them, then that's, I mean,
Right.
that makes perfect sense.
Right.
And I do wanna add that I'm very glad you're cannibalizing the other truck for everything you can get off
Yeah,
of it
so I'm trying,
before you let that go.
yeah, whatever I can keep on it for the other two.
Yes,
Yeah.
Because like the doors, the hood, and stuff like that, you can't use a cab because it's got VIN numbers on it, so you can't use a cab because that's all. But the black body really is, that's no good, the piston on it leaks probably out of oil out of it, like the size of that, and I'm like, you put it up, it just pours out of it.
Probably not good.
All right, so it's
But
not good.
anyways,
All right.
I keep the wheels and tires, because those rims are pretty expensive, so. But anyways,
thank you.
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
Chief.
So we received our free 30-day trial FirstNet modem for Sergeant DePietro's vehicle. Sergeant DePietro reports a significant increase in connectivity for NDT and RMS software after only using it for 2 weeks, specifically down at the Meriden Deli, where it was a dead spot. He's still working around town, checking those connections. I spoke with Lee Baronis of the DOT, who is their traffic engineer and administrator, to inquire as to why the speed limit on Route 120 south of Grantham Mountain Road had been changed from 35 to 50. He advised it was because of traffic data. We had a lengthy conversation, which I expressed my concerns about the 2 school bus stops in this area, the residents located there, as well as the windy portion of 120 that was affected by the speed limit change. He understood my concerns and agreed to put the speed limits back to the original limit of 35. There was also a change on 12A regarding speed, where the 30-mile-an-hour zone starts at the Plainfield Deli going northbound and 40 miles an hour going southbound from that location. We agreed this was reasonable based on the location compared to the village, so that stayed. But I'm happy to say the day after we had our conversation, they changed the
The
sign.
signs right back.
They really,
Yeah, I was surprised.
Some people
So
mention it.
is that, when I read the correspondence, it seems like they're still discussing, like they were like, oh, we jumped the gun. Is there discussion of that over for now, or are they still
It's over.
discussing that?
He apologized numerous times
Yeah.
about how he didn't contact the town, talk to the town
Right.
first. It's
And I
just,
appreciated that part,
Right,
right?
yeah,
Like
the
they were just like,
honesty was
our
good.
mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, so the
But-
work order was put in before he could make contact with the town to let them know what was going on. Had that have happened, we probably could have prevented it from happening to begin with, but
So
No,
should they
it's-
contact us again? I think we've heard from neighbors and.
Yeah,
from
hopefully that
but
idea,
it's
they're done with
not
that
something
idea
we're
from the
interested
back.
in.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. But thank you for doing that, because that happened. They changed it fast, but they changed it back.
it was great.
I
I
couldn't
thought my
believe it.
car, there was something wrong with my car because it would pop up
Yeah.
like 50. I'm like, no, it's not,
No.
it's 35 through here.
Like, your GPS must be wrong.
Well, which is nice on 12A, when they moved the speed limit signs, we were able to put one of our brackets on our speed radar sign
Oh,
on it.
good.
So it's like where the beginning of the residents start in the village.
Yeah.
So it worked good for
Good.
us. We have been more visible during heavy commute times in the villages the past, since our last meeting. We have been deploying our speed sign, 12A last week, and we'll be deploying the speed trailer soon, depending on the weather. We used it to assist Cornish, they had, cleanup on 12A, so it was our test run of the speed trailer, because sometimes it could be finicky, but it was working fine. We'll be erecting a new flagpole at the PD due to our previous one breaking during heavy winds, and that's been ordered. We are working on getting a new copier machine for the PD, as our existing one, which was handed down by town offices, is old and maintenance fees are expensive. We're looking to go with Xerox, which the town already uses, so if we need maintenance or whatever, we can get on a contract, so when they're out, one-stop shopping, they can come and maintain both at the same time. We will be participating once again in the National Drug Take Back Program on Saturday, April 25th from 10 to 2. We'll also be hosting Coffee with a Cop on the same day from 9 to 1. And for community events, both Sergeant Peter and I attended Read Across America at the school and read a book to the kids. We participated in World Autism Day at the school as well. And that's my report.
Very nice.
thanks, sir.
Thank you.
I have to say one thing, we had a wraparound meeting with a student and, their family at the school. And it was great because the family, we've been involved with them for many years, and it's like a big wraparound, for this family. And Sergeant DePietro was there, and the student thanked him for
Aw.
being there, and they built a good relationship. So having the PD a part of not just public safety, but also public involvement at the school, it's huge.
Yeah.
It was great, really great.
Yes, I know.
Are you leaving?
Yeah,
We just wanted to take a moment.
right, we would
To
want to
acknowledge.
acknowledge that you have been here for 25 years as of April 9.
You crazy.
Appreciate that, right?
You and I were having the discussion, take us back, you came as,
Truck driver, laborer, is that way.
and then 5 years later, you were mechanic and then road agent, yes?
And about a year later, I ended up being a mechanic and then the assistant road agent. And then 11 years after, I ended up being a road agent. So I've been a road agent about 14 years.
Wow, well, we appreciate it, so.
Yeah,
that's
we
all
really
for
do.
you.
I know we give you garbage about, stuff, but yeah, we're glad you're here, Rich.
That's great.
And you will be forever in the history of the town of Plainfield, Rich, you will be a moron in there, so you're in there.
Absolutely.
Oh, for 25 years?
And all kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank
You
you.
got us through- You got us through another winter, I'm ready to declare it, I know Monday's gonna be cold, but it's not gonna be winter.
I hope.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brad.
So, busy stuff. Water department, we just finished our first quarter water meter reads and they're about ready to get mailed in the morning. We held them to get our arsenic testing so that we can include a notification in the mailing, just saves money. And we also included a flushing notice. We're gonna do a system-wide flushing next weekend with a fallback of the second and the third following weekend. It'll be a full system flush. We go through about 50 to 75,000 gallons. And so it gives it a good cleaning out of the debris that tends to add up and settle in and create a nuisance for us for the rest of the year. So it's a good thing. We're trying to get on a schedule where we do it at least twice a year. And last fall, we weren't able to do it. It was a drought and then we got into winter and it just didn't make sense. You can't really flush and it's like the ground's frozen.
And I think one of the things that we struggle with is to treat the water as the state requires. It is hard to stay ahead of the system, let alone empty the tank.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the flushing is a key part of what we need to do, but we have to time it in a way when we have plenty of water in the tank and we're gonna
So
recover.
Maura and I met a couple weeks ago, picked the date. She's been making strides in watching the water in the tank, which has chlorine ages out naturally. And so you can't let it get too old because then it isn't properly chlorinated for distribution. And you need to draw the tank down so that you use more of it. It mixes well. So it's a bit of an art and that's her job and she's done a good job. We're sitting where we need to be and anyway, so that's one in its course. Meter swap is ongoing. Frank's back in town. He did 3 today. We've got about a dozen to 20 left to install of the first 2/3. We initially thought it was gonna be a 3-year cycle. This is year 2 and we're gonna be at 2/3 and it's in June. And so the last piece, we might accelerate and do the rest of this year. We'll figure that
One of
out.
the things you saw down at the facility shop.
Yes.
Where the old meters, which Brad has spoken with Evergreen Recycling, and they've said, take this piece off and we can give you a better price.
Okay.
So
So
the trays there were all
Yeah.
cast iron, brass and plastic so anyway, that'll get run up to Judy up in Windsor, Wilder. Let's see, so the asset management plan is, we've almost got all the physical assets on a map. The next step is filling in some of the data behind it, age of things and anyway, the data entry part of it is largely going to be complete within a couple of weeks. And that's sort of right on target. We're supposed to finish this project this year and certainly expect to do it this year, but probably second quarter. We've got already put some of the baseline financial information about annual budgets as part of our capital planning software. So that piece is getting filled in. And so once the physical assets are completely mapped, I've already I've got a list of like one of each type of thing, got current pricing on it. And coming up with an emergency supply list. So one of the things that was driving me to think about Ferry Hill was, okay, if we think we need to hold this stuff for an emergency, where do we put it? So that it's, we're not tripping over it, it's properly cared for and accessible in the event of emergency. And so all these things are sort of all coming together, which is great. But it's a bunch of moving parts. And my hope is certainly by third quarter that we're showing you an intact, complete capital plan, an intact, complete asset management database built on a GIS system where we can show you our assets on map. And so it's neat stuff.
These parts that you're talking about, would they be able to be stored at Ferry Hill as it stands? Like, do they need heating?
No, so these are pieces of pipes, valves, all the different sizes of the different things that
Okay.
we need. So that in the event of an emergency, we find we have a leak anywhere in our system. Are we waiting a day for parts or can we get on it right away?
Okay.
And there's, even though we may think that's the right list eventually, the first vendor, $14,000 worth of parts. I don't know if that's high or low. It seemed higher than I thought for a couple of pieces of pipe. We'll get some other pricing, but then we can also second guess that. If these things are readily stocked,
Yeah.
and the worst case is you're waiting for Monday, then maybe you don't need to.
The
have
water
an
district,
inventory.
water pipelines always leak after 5 or on Saturday
Yeah.
and Sunday. That's when
And
they
usually February,
Right.
after the cold snap.
They
Exactly.
never leak Tuesday at 10 AM.
So, anyway, so that whole package, that whole project is moving nicely. And the pieces are coming together and it'll be fun to show you when it's done. The sustainability grant this is the engineering analysis of our water and our water treatment, which we have lots of reasons to think we can do more efficiently. That grant, I had the initial conversation with the engineering group we have to pick a kickoff meeting that DES participates in, and then we start in on the real work. And so talking with the woman who's the engineer that's from Dufresne, is the group that's doing the work. I now have a list of round up this information to support this process. And so I've got a task list there that I'm working on now. And so I expect the kickoff meeting will happen next week. And then that actual work the engineering work will begin. And they haven't given us a target completion date, but my expectation is maybe even a couple of months, but worst case, 3 or 4 months, 6 months. Really what we care about, and I already took the first steps, they are gonna tell us we need to change some things. Those things will cost some money, things that there is money out there for, one of which is the drinking water state revolving fund monies. And they opened their process for application last week, and that day I submitted an application with a bunch of placeholder numbers after talking to those folks. So we have a foot in the door, and as long as our engineering comes together and gives us things that are clearly things we are prepared to do and think are right for the district, we would turn around and get pricing for those things and complete that grant process. Worst case is we say no, thank you this year, and we skip a cycle. There's two shots at the program in a year, and so I'm trying to get the ducks in a row so that we can move as fast as data tells us to move. And so that piece, I started. The DOT resiliency grant work with Mark Goodwin and our GIS stuff. We've done some neat things. Mark has gone through assembling a whole bunch of different pieces of our GIS data and then bringing in some other things that sort of enhance it. Out of that has come a list of questions on about 60 properties about addressing. So addressing is a kind of a fundamental thing. Do we know where, 18 River Road is? And do we know whether that's the ADU there or the barn or the whatever? Clarifying that gives us an authoritative address so that we can get back to the whole core of that grant is resiliency. What if we lose that culvert on that street? What do we know about the folks that live there? Is it a whole bunch of healthy folks who have a back door, they just have to take a longer way home? And so it's not as big a direct interruption as if we had 3 shut-ins and no way out. And so you're looking at people on ATVs to give them something they need if you know, the culvert at the bottom of the hill washes out. So the whole goal is to identify the relative risk associated with that infrastructure, culverts, crossings. And eventually there's other things we could look at, but that particular grant is a DOT thing, so they care about roads and the things in roads. And so that's what we're looking at for that. And so,
Like down at Ferry Hill where you saw culverts tonight, that's exactly where we store the emergency culverts.
Mhm.
That we know that we can't get easily, you know, 48-inch ones, 36-inch ones. 18-inch ones, you can get a lot of places, but the
Right.
bigger ones, and so. Once we know the numbers, then we would store some amount of those to be ready. Because with our gravel pit and with our own local forces, if we had the materials, we can get back up and running very quickly.
Mhm.
and this work helps you understand ranking. Like, which, you know, do we have a whole bunch that are culverts in poor condition on watersheds that are likely to flood in a flash flood, or where there's a history of flooding? Those you want to look at and say, oh, all of those happen to be 36-inch culverts, so probably that ought to be something we stock. Bunch of other ones aren't as critical to the function of the town.
Mhm.
Okay, if you take a day or two to get them back in order, I mean, you obviously work on them as fast as you can, but you aren't gonna stockpile $1 million worth of stuff for a what if. You want to have a good rationale, and that's what this is. This is taking existing data and coming up with a rationale for what should we stockpile, what do we know what we would do if each of these things had a problem. So anyway, it's neat work. Under facilities, a whole bunch of stuff. Today, we had guys from Ormsby Computing come in. They have installed agents on all of the office workstations, and those give us an enhanced security, AI threat detection and an alarm status. And they also give them the ability to look in our machines, and they are going to be working on proposing to us a migration path to get to Windows 11 on all those workstations.
They're the same company that does the Plainfield School, and
Okay.
they are most likely the replacement for Mark Cohen, who's retiring.
Mhm.
And so Mark has been generous to work with them. I mean, Mark is still the guy we call, but at some point this summer, that will end and the Ormsby's group will be the new IT people for the town.
So we'll be getting a proposal for that migration process. They're also keeping an eye out so that we are prepared for when the Hub 66 finally does come into town in the fall. And that when we're trying to light up our buildings and get our fiber network established, they'll be the guys that do that work in all likelihood. So they were here today. And the highway roof project is in its second day. And they've got about a fifth of the trusses they're going through, and they're beefing up the trusses up in the attic, and then eventually they'll put a new roof on the building. And the way we structured the project is they came in, sort of got themselves settled, did 5 trusses yesterday, said, I think we've got it. And I called Miles Engineering Ventures, who did the engineering plan for this. And he came down and we walked through it and he said, yep, they've got it. They're doing everything the way we intended. So keep going. And so these guys are off and running. They're doing the beefing up of the trusses first, and then they come back and they're actually putting some truss plates, which normally happen in a factory. We've got LaValleys as a subcontractor coming up and pressing on these additional plates on these reinforced areas. So neat project, but it's off and running, and so far.
And that'll be a good one to get done.
It'll be a
Yeah.
good one to
From a
get done.
visual perspective, the highway garage to people who worry about those things, looks like it's needed a roof for a while.
Right.
And so it will get a brand new roof. Just so the board is aware, we are, as of tomorrow, releasing $62,000 to them. So they requested half the money in a deposit. And Brad's worked with them enough and has checked enough references and they seem to be real. They're there working every day. But, you know,
Yeah.
there is a trust and a faith
Yeah.
that you have to put in. And so we're.
And this is, the 62 covers, I mean, what's going on now is lots of screws, a
Yeah.
whole bunch of 2x material,
Oh, yeah.
you know, stuff like that. The metal's where the real money is.
Yeah.
But they, in fairness, they've got 5 guys down there on their second day and tomorrow's their third day, that ticks up fast.
Yeah.
So I feel good that the contract was, sure, you could have busted it into smaller pieces or whatever, but for me, it's fine. Little bit, everybody goes forward and at this point, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do.
So the math on that means we came up with a total of 124.
116. I think is the
116,
contract
yeah,
price.
the 62 was a little more than half.
Okay,
But they are, Brad and I talked today, it looks unlikely. I thought there might be some overruns on trim and that kind of work, but he says it's all in the contract. And so these guys will do it complete and we'll be at 116, 100 from unassigned fund balance, 16 from the facility fund.
all right.
But it'll be
That was
done.
my next question. Thank you, Steve.
It'll be done.
Town Hall, Plainfield Town Hall's been active and we just avoided, you know, we had a cold snap
Yes.
days after we opened things up, but made it through. So that was good. And now it's up and running. There were some, you know, there's an oil bill that wasn't there before. There's an electric bill that was triggered by a number of things. We had to pump some electric heat in there. Some of that will be something that happens again. Some of it maybe not so much because they're gonna do some installation of some fixed heating.
If you go way back in time to when Granite State Electric was the utility company.
Yes.
They would have metered the Plainfield Town Hall as a residential building. So you just, however much electricity you used, that's what you got billed for, because they did that to every building in over on the side of town as well. The Plainfield Town Hall, because of the features of the light set, is considered a commercial building and gets a demand charge. So if you turn the lights on in their current configuration for a very long period of time and it's not very long, it's 15 minutes in the course of a month, you hit this demand charge. So last month's bill at $327 was $86 worth of electricity. The other stuff was made up of all the other things on your electric bill, plus the demand charge. And people for years have said, we're gonna, you know, joust with that windmill and make the demand charge go away. It doesn't go
I
away.
do see that Beth has turned her camera on and unmuted herself. I'm guessing she may
He
have.
could not let the Plainfield Town Hall go. I know she.
Probably gonna.
No, but I just wanted to give you some good news. So we have ordered some experimental LED bulbs for the back row of the town hall lighting. And they are 4-watt bulbs, but they will shine at 40 watts and they are multicolored. So we're going to experiment with them with the lighting and make sure that it's still, you know, good. The other interesting thing is that I had a call from Lee Oxenham today. She has a contact at Eversource and she's going to hit him up for some help. So I just, you know, not all is horrible. We're working on it.
Just the reality of the prices.
Yeah, it's
nothing is
just something
horrible.
that we have to work through, but you know, the LED bulbs are, you know, we're gonna have to put them in and experiment and we'll do that this summer and we'll see what comes out of Lee's discussion.
Okay.
Cool.
Terrific.
Maybe she's the one to joust with that windmill. That'd be good.
All right.
Yeah, you bet.
So now snow's gone. I've been in touch with Rich about, they typically power broom the gravel back onto the driveway. And he thought today, I don't think he got to it. I haven't been down to the Meriden Library to check. But in the next few days, he'll come in and do a first pass, rough pass, and then I've been in touch with Adam Gage. And he's going around to start looking at lawns and things, and he'll maybe do some neatening up, but in the next few days, we're trying to stay ahead. The grass is gonna start,
Mhm.
need to be mowed, next week, so.
Right.
Trying to get ahead of that. I've been in touch with Marshall Beatty, who's still in Florida. At the time, it was fairly chilly here and he was quite happy. But we've got a number of little painting projects, and so I know I'm on his radar and he'll set aside some time for us. Front step railings and things are starting to peel a little bit. Yeah, so one of the things that I might put him on, if he's up for it, Philip Reed Library, the asphalt shingle roof on the addition, so this is the addition from 2002, so it's now 24 years into its life. Like ridge and hip shingles are failing. In the heavy winds, there's a few on the lawn. They break off, they're still covered up there. It's not like there's a hole in the roofing system, but it's not good. And I think, so we need to be budgeting on that building for a re-roof of that project. And with today's construction numbers, that could be a scary number. I mean, I'm thinking $30,000 to $50,000. I mean,
It's a complicated roof.
so these yellow lines, well, those are eaves, but that's an aerial view of it. So it's all hips. It's all faceted triangular shapes, not rectangles. So
Someone had fun.
roofers don't like that. I mean,
Don't.
it's very hard to be efficient.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're looking at needing that, the whole roof re-roofed in 2-3 years at the most. But I think this summer, whether it's Marshall or I'll go up and put a coating on the ridge cap and just basically give them a clear coat that seals it up. It may or may not help keep the pieces from falling off in the first place. They're basically just aging. They've just cooked. And there's a whole series. I happened to do a bunch of roofs in that year and have been back on a couple of them. And they have the exact same problem where they bent. They just weren't as flexible. They were being re-engineered all the time. And so it's not an uncommon failure. It's a little early. It should have been a 30-year shingle. And so,
Time we get done with it, it'll be a 30-year shingle.
well, better not. I mean, we gotta keep an eye on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't want it to.
But
get
it's obviously an increase to the reserve fund for the library building fund, right? I mean, we're gonna have, we got 50-60 grand worth of roofing.
Yeah.
Right.
Up there.
So I wanted to put that on your radar, just that you've
Yeah.
heard that and we're trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to do that. And then the Meriden Library, believe it or not, the stain on the boards is a 5-year stain and we're on year 3. And so we probably ought to be thinking about when that happens. Marshall may do that one at a fairly reasonable price.
Yeah.
He did the highway garage, right? And that was a utility grade building, but he did a good job and he was very thorough. And so I think, I get a little nervous around all that white trim on the windows,
Yeah.
but I'll talk to him about it. If he could do it, we haven't found anyone.
Is there a better stain than a 5-year?
Yeah,
That
that
seems
seems
low.
awfully fast
It's
for a
the
brand new.
Valspar, which is a reasonable product.
Is it looking like it's aging?
I mean, a
If
brand
it
new.
looks like it's
construction.
aging, you've waited too long, right?
Okay.
But you can
Sure.
go down and look at it now and see where it is aging, right? So you can see in the sap lines where the paint didn't stick as well, the stain didn't stick as well, where the boards have shrunk, they open up a little
So
crack.
if it's a 5-year though, that's not for this year then.
Oh, no.
No.
No,
we're
that's
not
what I
getting
said,
ahead
of it.
we're at year
Okay.
3.
I think
Yeah,
by-
we're not getting ahead of it.
Right, I think by
Okay.
far the greater concern
Gotcha.
is the library roof in Plainfield Village,
Absolutely.
by
Right.
far.
Yeah. It's
Which
just
does not
surprising.
obviate the need to pay attention to the siding on the Meriden Library. Okay,
Absolutely.
they are both important in their time.
Yes.
Because my brain was thinking, hey, we don't have a great mechanism for looking ahead. We do
No,
not
no, no,
have
it's a good thought.
a capital improvement.
I just wanna make
plan
sure we're
for
not
all of
talking
our
about
buildings.
getting ahead by.
So we should be telling you as soon as
Yes.
possible, get the bad news
Yes.
out early so that I can then work on
You can
solutions
refer
for
to
you.
the
but-
minutes from April 15th,
Exactly.
2026.
Anyway, enough said on
What else
that.
you got?
Yeah. All right,
Yeah, that's a lot of other little things, but that's good. But those are the big ones.
terrific. Yes.
Well, it's about the time of the next select board meeting. I believe you have someone lined up to do the slate roofs. Is
Yes,
going to look at
May
like 4
7th.
years,
May 7th.
Uh-huh.
plus the day after the next select board.
Right, KUA finally gave up on the slate guy that we've all used for years.
Yeah.
Just said they were having the same success or lack thereof. You know, it's not Gerard Leone anymore, it's his son-in-law, and it's a complicated story that I
Yeah.
won't bore you with. But KUA was able to share with us their slate person that they've hired. I assume he's gonna be at KUA, he's not coming from Mass for us.
Well, he's gonna come up on the 7th for us. This is Mahan Roofing, and they're a large commercial roofer, and they do slate, and they've got a good portfolio of pictures if you're interested. They're certainly qualified, and I'm sure the price will reflect that. But
Gotcha.
they will show, I have confidence that they will.
I mean, in the very best years, Gerard would come and look at every building, give you a bill for $200 and have fixed a few broken slates and maybe a valley somewhere that needed a little work. And he did that every other year or every year. And it just kind of went on. The son-in-law just has not been able to keep that kind of schedule. And
Gotcha.
so, and yet you find the wrong slate person and they can make the roof much worse. I mean, it's a lost art to be, and you know, Kimball Union is very invested because they've got a ton of slate. And so they believe they have found the right person, and we're gonna try to piggyback off that
Sounds good.
and have our town buildings done. And I know the folks working on the Plainfield Town Hall have been after it for years now. We need it here. This is an important building to us. And so, and they'll do the Meriden
Yeah,
Library.
we're gonna look at all three buildings.
Front.
Yeah.
So,
Philip Reed is the third building.
third,
Yeah.
right.
Steve, is there anything?
I did have
that we hadn't?
Yeah, I have one other thing. I just wanted to get back to a discussion that we had under a different board of
I was
selectmen.
gonna say, I think I'm the only person here who even knows what
Right,
we're talking about.
right,
and it's
and
been a
so-
while.
just to be clear, we have made no, well, I think we made we had a handshake as to how we might
Yeah,
handle.
you know, I was just thinking about this.
Right, There is a 1 megawatt solar field, which will be the biggest in Plainfield by a factor of 15. Scheduled to go right across from Lee Walker's Tree Farm on Stage Road. It's land of the Shalloways. And they have been through a couple of years of permitting, mostly because they took a year off while they went and did some other stuff and got more work. But there's gonna be 5 acres of solar panels at the field that's just above Lee Walker's house, and it's in that triangle between Stage Road and 120. It's called Kearsarge Power. They have spent a lot of time and energy working with neighbors and dealing with screening and concerns, and they do seem to be, as these things go, and we've got at least one bad example, I think, in Plainfield of solar. These guys hold their solars like the banks used to hold your loan. These guys aren't just in it for the federal tax credits. They are actually a utility and want to produce power. And so they say they will be in the future responsible for the maintenance and the care of the solar array. But the thing has had all kinds of complexities. It's gone through the zoning board, it's gone through the planning board, it's been a couple of years. All those approvals are in place. They intend to build it, I believe, this summer, but the last piece is the assessment of the array. And none of them want to pay full taxes. They just don't. Plainfield offers a generous exemption on all solar up to $300,000. And that exempts all the solar at KUA, it exempts all the residential solar that we have in town, it exempts the commercial solar at Town Line Equipment. You don't know it, but the entire roof of Town Line Equipment is solar panels. And so no one pays taxes in Plainfield on solar. There are 2, but they could, over 300,000. There are 2 smaller solar arrays that have been paying payments in lieu of taxes. And the one we're most familiar with is the one at the Plainfield School. That's Barrington Power, and they paid a pilot for 5 years of $1,300 until the exemption was increased to the full 300,000, which more than covers the value of that array. So George is happy to help with the pilot, but he is your assessor, not your pilot person. What the select board determined a couple of years ago
Yeah.
now was that that George would assess the array and we would charge them the county tax and the school tax would become the basis. None of these solar companies want a pilot that varies, right? It's all about business and cash flow and all of that. So they want to know what their number is gonna be. And so if we believe that the array, and there's always some debate about these things, but we believe the array would be valued between $1 million and $1.2 million, on the ground. That would give it a tax bill of about $18,000. Because of the, you know, you got they get 300 off. And so that gives them a tax bill of 18,000. They are not coming to Plainfield if their bill is 18,000. They can't, they won't. Over in, I think it's in New London, there's a Kearsarge project. It's the same size array. They're paying $3,000 a year,
Yeah.
which we would not accept.
Correct, I remember this discussion.
Right,
Yeah.
3,000 was too little. And so when you sugar it all off, it looks like if you say to them, no pilot, you're gonna pay less the exemption, you know, you'd pay
Mhm.
around between 12 and 17,000 in taxes. They're gonna say we're not coming, and that's fine.
That's fine.
What we agreed to was a pilot based on county and school and town tax. That would give you a pilot of about $6,000 a year. And so the plan, and they are not going to start building until the pilot is signed and they understand. And so the issue before the board is different board now. Would you accept a pilot of $6,000 a year?
For how many years?
10 years. And then there's another 10 after that.
So this conversation is coming back to me, but very slowly. Was there some discussion that some electricity would be provided to some of our town buildings from that as well?
There was
I
discussion.
feel like there was discussion.
Right, there was
I
discussion about a
remember being
preferred
there.
rate of a few, off a few cents per kilowatt. And we can talk to Andrew about that. Andrew Bernstein
Yeah, I
is the
remember.
owner.
Andrew.
And, I think as people drive by it,
Mhm,
it's a commercial utility.
mhm.
They're gonna look and they're gonna say, what does that thing pay? And the answer is it pays a pilot of about a modest house in the town of Plainfield, $6,000.
So what is pilot?
Payment in lieu of taxes.
Oh.
There's a whole statute that allows for certain things. And the Energy Committee is very much in favor of you, they would say exempt the entire
You're right.
thing. They don't want you to, they don't want, we are a ready for whatever town, ready for. What's the year?
100.
Ready for 100, to be one, and it was 2030 to be 100%.
But
off
this
of fossil-
array is not committing to supplying energy directly to the town of Plainfield. This
Right.
array is going to be supplying energy into the utility lines, not.
Absolutely,
So
right.
that the town of Plainfield is not going to it's not going to derive a direct benefit.
Except that
I'm
we.
sorry, I had planning board.
No, no, no,
I went
right.
through the planning board
Yeah,
with
yeah,
this,
yeah.
so.
Oh,
it's
so you
actually-
remember
But you would be, right, the bigger discussion is it the right thing to do for the planet?
Is it the right thing to do
Wow.
for the planet? I would
And
say.
then do we
that
have a role,
consider-
and do we have a role to participate in that?
and-
Well, there are hidden costs of that, secondary costs, which is one, they're ugly. And so,
Right, oh, and then this
so
one's gonna
I
be bigger
kind
than
of,
ugly.
the array that I have to look at now on my property that's over on Vermont by Joel Stettenheim and his people
Yeah.
that put that array up, right.
Oh, do you
my
see it, right?
beautiful view.
Do you see it?
It's like at this time of year, it's like there are two suns. There's a regular sun and there's a reflection off of that, so it's blinding and it's really,
Really?
I mean,
I thought they weren't supposed to do that.
if
It
you
doesn't.
ask me,
Yeah.
if I was really like, terribly upset about it, I'd ask for my view tax to be reduced, because it really.
Yeah,
It's seriously a blemish.
Right.
And so there's also, okay, you versus the planet, okay, of course. And I'm one that says a person ought to be able to do with their land what they want to, so that's why, I
Yeah, no, I get it,
We had some serious pushback from the abutters too.
What's that?
We had some serious pushback from the abutters about this project in that location.
And so it is, if there's not an interest in the pilot, then they can make their decision to build or not build based on the fact that they would have to pay Plainfield
They-
taxes, let the exemption.
So without
But
them
I think
doing that, I don't remember what that land is taxed now, right? I
current
mean,
use, so.
It's current use, so
Yeah,
it's
up,
not.
It's up. In fact, they would tell you, and I
So we
understand,
would be getting 6,000 more than we are.
Yes, and they would not. It got more complicated for them, not that you have
Yeah,
to feel
I
sorry for
remember
them, they're big boys,
Yeah.
is that the array takes all of the shallow way land out of current use.
Mhm.
Because there's the size of the array removed from current use.
Yeah.
Doesn't allow the shallow ways enough land to remain in current use.
Mhm.
So they're having to pick up that difference, but to your point, it pays about $25-30 a year in tax now, because it's a bad wet field
Yeah.
in all in current use. I agree with Ken 100%. I mean, Stage Road is my 90% road. That's the road I spend my day on back and forth. It's gonna be ugly as hell. They're going to screen a lot of it, and they've
Mhm.
committed to that.
They have.
And the grade is such that most motorists driving by, you're gonna see it from Reich's, right? As you go by,
Mhm.
Reich's is kind of a window to it. Once you get up next to it, Stage Road is fairly steep, there's a grade change. But they're aware that it's a different board of selectmen, and so they wanted to make sure that the pilot idea is still good. If it isn't, then we just need to tell them that so they can make whatever business decision they wanna make. You are under no obligation. I mean, this is one of the great things of being a select board. You're under no obligation to enter a pilot. You have the authority to enter in a pilot if you want to. And almost every large solar array, I think all large solar arrays in the state of New Hampshire have a pilot of some kind. And the going rate that I can see is 3,000 to 4,000 per million kilowatts. And and that's the system that we're getting. And because they wanna move on, they've agreed to 6. But that's the best they're gonna do. If you're not happy with 6, then we'll just tell them no pilot.
When would they like to hear from us?
Yesterday,
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah,
they're
they've been
obviously,
waiting for a
Can-
couple of
Oh,
years.
I know, I was-
So it's out on the Shalloway side, but kind of.
yes. So literally, it's,
Swamp what is?
if you think of the Shalloway's
It's not
house,
wetland.
if you think of the Shalloway's
Which
house.
is kind of like before Dennis Rush's or after it.
Well, it's the land direct, it's where Lee's
Right,
Trees
right.
has trees
Yeah.
now. But if you go up and you go up 120 and you head back down,
Yeah.
Shalloway's house in the barn, you go just past their house. And that's the same field, and it's all right there, that's 10 or 11 acres of field, and it's gonna have 5 acres of panels.
So Elise and I have a familiarity with it just from your planning board work and my
Right.
being on the
Mhm.
board where they first purchased. Kent has not.
Yeah,
So
no.
if we could put this
Yeah.
on either the next agenda or the agenda, I mean, they can wait, or
They-
they can't.
No, they'll make whatever decision they
They
make,
can
but.
make, that's up to
that-
them,
That's
but
right.
I don't feel comfortable making, having a vote tonight.
No.
without Maybe seeing some of that paperwork again, I
Yeah.
remember we had a pretty decent packet the last time through. I don't know that they need, I mean, they're welcome, of course, to come to our meeting, but I'm not asking them to.
So at the
because
next
They're
meeting,
gonna
we'll,
say what you just said.
right,
I
we'll look
remember
at,
they were
we'll
just
look at
not.
we'll look
Yeah.
at the array and think about, I mean, if
Well,
you're.
And I think for Kent's benefit, that it would be nice if we could see the actual plan.
The plan.
Oh,
exactly.
sure, no,
Yeah.
easy to do. You got-
I'm mostly concerned about how it affects the neighbors, really.
Right,
I mean,
and
is
they
there
have-
anybody that's gonna open their door and get like sunburned.
Oh, no,
you know, like-
they have, mostly mollified the neighbors' concerns through screening and through moving some of the arrays. The
Yes.
Olsleys were very concerned, and they moved a section of the array for that. The person, where probably the most development closest to a home is the Linda Dupree, but it's not array, it's a retention pond to hold the
Yeah.
drainage from the arrays. Rice is less than thrilled about it, but they've agreed to take some trees down that the Rices wanted down, and they agreed to plant some trees. They actually, I mean, for a large company, Kearsarge, and they may not be that large, they've been very reasonable to work with, and they have a really stellar reputation for doing what they say they're gonna do. So you can argue the merits of the solar,
Uh-huh.
but I think the company's legit.
The
Absolutely.
companies, yeah,
And
the people that they've sent to speak at the site plan reviews anyway have been very conscientious.
Mhm.
You know, they've answered all the questions that we put to them and very clearly. And they responded very well to the abutters when we did the site.
And
plan.
so they have the permits to
Oh,
move
yeah.
forward, we just need
They've
to.
got-
Right, all
Right
all
now,
they need
we're
is a
just
building
deciding on
permit, and they
what
just
we are
want
gonna
to.
6,000.
Exactly.
Right,
And
and they
it is-
have, we've been back and forth about. they argue with George about how he would assess the array, whether it's $1 million or whether it's 900,000 or 3 million. And so they have paid George to do some assessing for them because they just wanted to know the answers. They couldn't wait until later. So George has cranked some of the numbers for them. And that's how we've gotten to where we are at the moment. There is, and again, we'll wait till next meeting and I'll bring out there's an excerpt from all the minutes. There was a discussion. And again, one board can't necessarily bind another, certainly, but there was a commitment made at a selectmen's meeting that said there would be a pilot related to the things
I
we just.
would call that, so if we can have those.
Yeah, and we would
minutes
wanna
maybe, or
honor whatever we said we would do,
Absolutely,
if we
Yeah.
could do it,
And so that's why,
but
you
they,
know, it was a few years ago and my memory was not
right,
great on it.
we've got pages and pages on here, sorry.
Yeah,
So
so
we'll,
you could just
we'll
send
have
it
that for the
to-
next meeting,
Yeah, and a
yes.
little in advance so we can.
Yep.
Be prepared, that would be
Yep.
great.
And I think,
I think
and
we-
mostly tonight, I just wanted to update you the fact that it was alive again.
Absolutely,
and
and just
they-
see what we have
they're-
definitely
they're-
agreed
they're
to
back.
and what we
Yep.
haven't, and then,
And considering that it's been several years,
I know.
I think if we take another 2 weeks.
they'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
okay.
Consider.
Well, and,
this.
and, and,
Or the
and they don't have a choice, I mean, they can wait or they can not wait.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
That's up to them.
It's
So,
like,
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the pilot is just for the solar array, make sure I understand this right. So that would take the land out of current use.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Delaways have to pay full boat on their 10 acres, and how much would that be?
Right, I
Are we
think,
talking
right,
1,000?
it's another couple thousand for the Shallowways, but I think the reality is Kearsarge is, we don't know what the deal is with Shalloway, but,
All right, we don't need.
but, right, but they're
are they
paying.
renting it?
They're paying the freight. I mean, Shalloway it's a cell tower on your property. I mean, they're
Right.
getting an income stream
Yeah.
from having the,
Right.
Right, so
the.
the solar company is the one that pays the pilot to.
Yes, yeah, and-
They don't funnel it through the Shelloways.
Not at all. No, in fact, I mean, we've had the Barrington Power pilot and then sort of the longest pilot that we've had for years. And it's really, I'm not sure it's a pilot in the official sense, but we've considered it a pilot for many years. We went and asked all the different nonprofits or exempt properties in town, what they could contribute. Kimball Union over the years has contributed to the purchase of fire trucks and
Yes.
things because they are the ones who benefit the most from having a ladder truck and that sort of thing. Singing Hills, which has always been, Singing Hills is another tax exempt entity in your community. They are housing a family tonight,
I was
as
gonna say,
we've heard.
Yes.
And they have paid for more than 30 years now. They pay $1,000 every Christmas. They make a gift to the town, which came out of a discussion very much like this pilot about could you pay something toward municipal and county services? You don't use the school very much and so Singing Hills really has, again, a bunch of non-taxable stuff, but they have a long history of making both financial and service commitments to the town. And so we should give them the credits that's due. They've paid that for years and years. And so they're rare. And the one thing about the pilot, and George would caution you, not caution you, but the law is clear. Once you set one for this solar, the next one, you don't have to have the discussion. They get the same one. And so the next,
Same rate.
same pilot,
Same
yes, same, yeah.
If it's the same size, if it assesses for the same amount of money.
Right, however
If the
you do
acreage
one,
is-
you apply it going
Okay.
forward,
And it would have to be proportionally appropriate,
yes.
like if the
I
next
mean,
one
the
is a
way we
larger
did the other
array.
ones was different. We didn't rationalize it in county and town tax. It just became a number. You would have paid 2,000 a year. Could you pay 1,000? And in fact, the Barrington Power one, you set at a very high $11,000 over the 5 years. They then came back to you and said, we agreed to it, but there's no way in hell we could pay it.
Yeah.
And so we split it and we cut it down again. And so they ended up paying 1,300 for 5 years instead of 11,000 over 5 years.
Okay,
All right,
yeah,
so pilot,
Right.
we're gonna talk about pilot at the next meeting. The other thing you'll have at your next meeting, you probably will start your meeting at 5 o'clock. We'll talk about it as we get closer, 5:15. You'll go immediately into non-public session and you'll meet with the consultant from
oh,
MRI.
yes.
Which will,
Okay.
I mean, they obviously don't wanna design a town office without hearing from the Board of Selectmen.
That would be nice, yeah.
Seems-
And that is our, the
May-
sixth,
the sixth,
right, May
yeah.
6th. As we are looking at ahead at meetings, so we are almost in our May schedule. Is there a date for our Memorial? Memorial Day is not the day we do a ceremony.
Right,
We
it's
do
the
it on a different
Thursday
date.
before Memorial Day weekend. And that
So,
usually-
and that this year is early, I think that's the
25th.
25th.
I was gonna,
So we'll be doing it on the 21st.
unless someone else wants to, I was going to see if Ron
Oh,
Eberhard
I
played
would love it.
trumpet.
I would love it. Ron Everhart played trumpet. If he wants to make his speech, he can as well. But yes, I have to get that off from work, and so I just want to make sure I have it on my calendar to do. so.
So,
That's also the day of Stephanie's senior lunch, so you do. it.
right, yeah, that's
That's
usually,
right.
right, so,
That's
so it's the
right.
21st?
Yeah.
So that is the date
Yeah,
that we would gather at usually 12:30, because the seniors start eating early and like to be out of there by 12:30.
mhm.
So we usually gather at 12:30. We have a wreath that we place at the service memorial and say nice words, which are heartfelt.
Mhm.
And then, Ron has played taps for a number of years. We did it one year in the pouring rain inside the Grange. Because that's where the senior lunch was. But it is a neat, there's always some folks who come and it's neat. It's a good Plainfield thing.
Can I ask you guys before is there anything that I can do? Or should do about Ferry Hill, about thinking about, helping you think about the
Ferry
Ferry
Hill.
Hill visit tonight?
I think
Or
we should
maybe we
clean
could-
out the top. I think we should clean that.
So I was thinking about that on the way
It's an
over.
embarrassment.
No, that's not what I was thinking.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
I was thinking as far as like the idea of cleaning out the top, don't we have like, community service? Like there's young people that need to do community service in
That
this
has
town.
proven to be very challenging to execute.
Particularly at that elevation. Do you think there's
I'd be
anything?
very nervous
Do
about
you
that.
think there's
Yeah.
enough up there to get a junkie to come
Liability.
take
Oh,
it?
it's bad.
You own it, whatever's upstairs, you own. Take the
Yeah.
cabinets, take whatever you want.
I don't think so, no.
No, there's not enough value.
No, I think, I don't, never say never, but I think
I mean,
probably
Judy
not.
Bellier, when she was on the board, she had a network of junkies. They were people
Oh.
that did clean outs for
Yeah.
free.
No, so I could take a picture or something and talk to Judy.
Yeah,
And-
Yeah,
But yes, it would be
Yes.
wonderful to get that cleaned out. I had thought that,
And-
on a rainy day, Highway and we could just throw it out the window into.
But I think we get a
piles.
roll-off dumpster there and we just do it
Well,
for real. And just be
Yeah, oh
done.
no, I think, you don't
Just-
stop
Yes.
when it's on the
Just-
ground, you finish and you finish that project. But there's basically trash, scrap metal, and there's a couple of tools that might end up going in a future shop just because they have some value and why throw them away? But most of it is
it's
junk.
trash. It really is.
And so,
So if we had Judy bring two roll-offs, a trash roll-off and a metal
I don't
roll-off.
even know if there's that much volume.
Right, I know, but it
There's
just
a lot.
makes it so easy. It's in the container.
Well,
and
the
they go
problem
away.
is throwing heavy stuff from a distance does a little damage to those roll-offs, so
Well, put the hay in the bottom.
there you go.
I think he likes- So I guess we'll investigate
Yeah,
cleaning.
I don't have any.
I mean, before we
think
start
cleaning
building,
that
let's
out.
clean.
Yes, and
Okay.
then really thinking, as we discussed up there, what are your long-term, what is ideal long-term and
Yeah.
what can we make happen soon and what can?
Yep.
I mean, I
we
think
should
there
talk
is,
about walling off a section.
Yep.
right. I think if you want the facility guy, gal to build, you need to provide them a place where they can build and do work.
Yes.
And so we
Yes.
can do that. I think the water district's gonna need a little storage. And we don't wanna steal Richard's building away from him. He's gonna get more than half of it for highway related stuff. And the whole upstairs is whatever you guys wanna do with the whole upstairs. But it is plenty of space to put things. But I like the challenge of getting it up there because Rich shouldn't put anything up there that he doesn't comfortable taking it back down. But it is a lot of space that we're not using. And I had forgotten that the second half was, the storage part was just full of baubles.
Yeah,
Stuff.
Yeah,
So it just needs to go.
it just needs to get
And
cleaned.
you're thinking that the partition wall that you were planning on putting in to make it so that the work area was separate from the
Mhm.
diesel infused would help to stabilize the structure of the building.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to make it sound like it solved all the structural problems of that
No,
building, but it
but-
doesn't have that. It's on the margins that it's structurally less than you would prefer.
Mhm.
But it's hard to argue with buildings that have been sitting around like Highway was structurally insignificant, you know, undersized. And for 40 years, it took what Mother Nature gave it. And so I think you do what you can do when the opportunity arises.
Yes.
I think putting a partition does in fact help stabilize that structure. I'm not really worried that the next windstorm is gonna blow it over, because we've had a bunch of windstorms and it's still there.
Yeah,
But it
that's how it
always
works,
is still
Brad.
there until it isn't.
Exactly.
You
So
know?
it sounds like the cleaning out is the first step.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I look at them as separate, so they're separate. So the second floor clean out can happen anytime, dribs and drabs all at once, however you want. It has nothing to do with creating the partition and the shop
Right.
space. You know, if you said, I was sort of looking at, it would be nice to know that I had a space that I could put things in as we get our asset management plan for the water department finalized. To finish that, if the funds are there or as they become available, I'd like to know that I was prepared for that.
And that's it, but it feels very operational to me, like, I think that we've seen it, I don't think any of us thought, what, don't build a partition, and if you feel that you need that partition, and you feel there is money in the budget to build such a partition.
I mean, we would do that ourselves.
I think that's very
Yes,
much
no, I think
in
so,
your
sure.
purview, I don't think we have any, we didn't go tonight and think, don't do anything to that building because we will be removing it, right?
Right,
Yeah, I
okay.
think the reality is that even
And
though
I think-
we probably have it for a
Do we
while.
need to like have a vote, say, go ahead and build your walls?
Because I think that's very operational, I
And
think
the only
that's
thing
out
to
of
be
our.
aware of is for Rich and his crew are gonna clean up Meriden and here.
Yeah,
And then those guys have to disappear for roads, they just,
Okay,
we,
then
so
I'm happy to
it
move
may be-
forward on
it
my
may be
own.
You and I hiring somebody,
yes, exactly.
to
Nope.
help you do
I'll
it.
talk to Judy. We
But
may
the,
find someone.
but the idea is, I think, let's do it, but let's not make Rich a huge part of it.
I'm
And I
fine.
think we can recognize the need, for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
That's
frivolous.
good.
to
I-
do a petition.
No, and we, last year we bought some carpentry tools and supplies.
Yeah,
You saw them.
And, you know,
yes.
and, we built the molding for the town hall that we had to build.
And the
And we've
deck,
done a
we
bunch
did the
of,
ramp, and you know, they get used
Take care of
and
what
they
we
need a
have.
place for them.
but I think,
Yes.
so we'll report back to you on
Okay.
progress at the next meeting.
Perfect.
And if you think of things that you'd like to know or you'd
Yeah.
like to see, just mention them.
I think it was good for us to go and see.
I think,
Yes.
I would love to take you to any buildings you have not seen.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good thing for all the selectmen
Mhm.
to walk through the fire stations, to look at the facilities.
Right,
that
you'll
the
feel
town-
better after you walk through the fire station.
That-
They're very
yeah,
different
that
animals.
is, yeah.
They're very different animals.
Across the floor on the weekend.
That's right.
The whole station.
You
Yeah.
have, by far, you have seen our messiest, least organized building, so they all get
Yeah.
better from
The other
the one
thing,
you saw
Brad,
tonight.
is,
Yeah.
check into the, what you need for the floor, the cement floor. you
Yeah,
put
I'll,
the-
I'll
okay,
gather,
that's
without going
correct.
too far afield, I'll
Yeah.
give you some sense of what different things might run if we chose to do them.
Yes, after you left, we had a
Yes.
discussion.
Yeah,
We'll-
yeah,
we'll
Yeah,
build in.
Fred and I talked about the floor a fair amount.
All right. A motion to adjourn,
I move we adjourn.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, our meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so I parked that car up behind that one of those.